I was on my way home for the Christmas holiday with my husband, Sam Foster, when we had an accident. When I opened my eyes again, we were back before we started dating. In our past life, we were married for 7 years and treated each other with respect, but he wouldn't even give me a child. Later, I found out that my husband could never let go of his white moonlight. After being reborn, I decided to grant him his wish. We silently deleted each other on WhatsApp, kept our distance, and chose different paths. 7 years later, he became a top stock market manipulator and announced his relationship with his white moonlight, Ashley Green, at a high school reunion. Seeing that I was still alone, he couldn't help but tease me. "Sherry, I know I'm your favorite man in lies, the one you're most proud of, but you don't have to wait for me." I ignored him and took my son's hand. Sam Foster's face turned pale, and he questioned me with bloodshot eyes. "Didn't you say you would love me forever and only have children with me?" The next time I saw Sam Foster was at our high school reunion 7 years later. I had just finished several surgeries and was too tired to doll myself up, so I went straight into the banquet hall. Sam Foster was standing in the middle of the crowd, holding Ashley Green's waist, enjoying everyone's compliments. "Sam, you're amazing. You've only been on New York Wall Street for a few years, and you've already become the most promising manipulator. You're the pride of Hilldale High." Of course! I heard that Wall Street celebrities are even paying Sam Foster to have dinner with them, and his consulting fees alone are nearly hundreds of thousands, which is a year's salary for us ordinary people. "Sam Foster, I've been investing in stocks recently. I hope you can give me some insider information for the sake of being old classmates and help me fly." Someone in the crowd asked curiously, "Sam, are you and Ashley getting engaged soon?" Sam Foster looked tenderly at Ashley Green in his arms. "Yes, we're getting engaged on December 20th. The surrounding crowd erupted in another round of congratulations. An old classmate asked, "Sam, are you still in touch with Sherry? You two were so passionate when you were dating. I heard your first song was written for her." Hearing my name, I noticed Sam Foster's smile instantly freeze, and his eyes narrowed slightly. Ashley Green, standing next to him, smiled and replied tactfully, "Look at you, I'm about to marry Sam. Young love doesn't last, and neither does young affection. He's already over Sherry." Everyone laughed and continued to compliment how well matched the two of them were. But I knew that Sam Foster had written that song himself when he confessed to me. In our past life, we had a campus romance, and we fell in love at first sight. He once said to me with a sincere face, "Sherry, look into my eyes. I like you. Eyes don't lie." I believed him. Unfortunately, he lied in our past life. I walked into the banquet hall with a calm expression. A sharp-eyed classmate saw me. "Sherry, why are you so late? Why are you wearing casual sportswear? You didn't even change into something formal. Did you just get off work? Where are you working like a dog?" We have successful people among our classmates. Let them help you find a job that's easier. Seeing my outfit, many people mocked me. I didn't care. I smiled and maintained basic decency. From the moment I entered the venue, Sam Foster's eyes never left me. I said politely, "Long time no see." Sam Foster was slightly stunned, his eyes filled with mixed emotions, and then he said with a mocking smile, "Sherry Joe, you haven't changed after all these years. You're still not ambitious." Ashley Green glared at me with a venomous look. She deliberately hugged Sam Foster's arm and acted coquettish, as if declaring her ownership, and said in a delicate tone in front of me, "Sam, how can you say that about an old classmate? She's just having a hard time, but we can't rub salt in her wounds. Sherry has suffered enough." She looked me up and down, her face full of sarcasm. "But Sherry, what are you wearing? It's so mismatched. You're not getting any younger. Women should take care of themselves, or they won't be able to marry anyone. What man would like a sloppy woman? Do you want me to lend you some makeup?" As soon as she finished speaking, the classmates couldn't help but laugh. After all, Ashley Green was wearing luxury brands and had exquisite makeup, even down to her hair, with the innate noble temperament of a rich girl. And I had just come from the operating room, hadn't slept for nearly 24 hours, and looked like I had lost my soul, haggard and exhausted. I was wearing the most comfortable casual sportswear, with no brand, just something I bought at a small shop on the street, not comparable to her at all. No need to be polite. I don't need it for now, I replied simply and sat down to eat, as I hadn't eaten for a day after the high-intensity surgery. Just as I was sitting there, savoring the food, Sam Foster suddenly walked up to me and placed a check for $100,000 in front of me. This money is to help you out for the sake of our past relationship. Take care of yourself in the future, find a more decent job, buy some new clothes, and learn to love yourself. Sherry, the past is the past. Don't dwell on it. If it weren't for you, never mind, it's not important. The important thing is that you don't lose your motivation and become self-destructive because of my departure, okay? I looked up at Sam Foster in confusion. What he didn't say made me curious. What exactly did I do in my past life that made him abandon me so resolutely after being reborn? In our previous life, we went from school uniforms to wedding dresses. He had his own musical dreams, and I wanted to study medicine. Both were expensive and time-consuming. Naturally, someone had to sacrifice. Because I love at him, I resolutely gave up the opportunity to study for a master's and doctoral degree in medicine and started working early, using one person's income to support two people's dreams. He failed again and again, felt frustrated again and again, and became decadent again and again. And I was like his charging station that would never run out of power. Every time I came home tired, I had to patiently comfort him. I thought he would understand my love. Unexpectedly, when he wanted to buy a new guitar again, and I refused due to insufficient funds, he smashed the guitar in anger. Do you know what? If I had listened to Ashley Green and gone to the United States to study with her, I wouldn't have to live this hard life. I really regret being with you. Later, he stopped playing the guitar and lost his dream. And I often shed tears in the middle of the night because of his words, I really regret being with you. But I made a final struggle and whispered while holding him, Sam, I want to have a child for you. He pushed me away, his eyes filled with unspeakable disgust. Can we afford to have an economic situation? And I've told you before, I hate children. I don't want to have children with you. These two sentences completely shattered the last hope in my eyes. During the Christmas holiday, an oncoming truck ended our lives. At that moment, I wasn't afraid, just relieved. Now that we are both reborn and have chosen to keep our distance, there is no need to think of old times. I silently pushed the check back. No need. I don't accept things from strangers. Thank you. He frowned and questioned me, Sherry Joe, am I a stranger? What do you mean by this? I replied, I can buy clothes myself. No matter what my job is now, I think my job is decent. There's nothing to be ashamed of, and I don't think I'm being self-destructive. You can keep this money for those who need it. He held the check, pursed his lips tightly, and stood there. Ashley Green. And walked to Sam Foster's side, looked at the check in his hand, and seemed to understand something. Although her eyes flashed with anger, she still pretended to be gentle. Sherry, you don't want our good intentions? Then we'll give you something more practical. I recently opened a nail salon on Elm Street. You can go directly there, and I'll arrange for you to be a nail apprentice. The monthly salary isn't high, but it's still $6,000, mainly so you can learn a skill. Even if you're desperate in the future, you can still open a nail salon. What do you think? Are you interested in trying it? This job should be much more decent than your current one. I calmly ate my food and refused their kindness. Thank you for your kindness, but I'm very satisfied with my job and have no plans to change jobs at the moment. Some classmates shouted at me, Sherry, why don't you appreciate their good intentions? Sam Foster and Ashley Green are kind-hearted. They're giving you money and a job. Accept it. That's right. You're already in this state. Why are you still concerned about face? If you're doing so badly, why did you even come to the reunion? Aren't you just here to get resources? What are you pretending for now? Ashley Green chimed in, pretending to be kind. Don't say that, everyone. Maybe Sherry really likes her current job. She turned to me. Sherry, this is our good intention, and it's also because of our past relationship that we're introducing you to this job. Don't miss the opportunity for the sake of face. I really didn't understand why they were forcing money and jobs on me. Really, no need. Thank you. Ashley Green still smiled very gently, but her eyes were full of mockery and disdain. Sam Foster clenched the check and sneered. A piece of mud. Sure enough, you can't lift someone like you up even if you try. You might as well die poor. After this mockery, many of the male classmates came over, wanting to force me to drink. Sherry, seeing that you're in such a pitiful state, if you drink a glass, I'll transfer $1,000 to you. If you're really pitiful, I'll add more money. The men's eyes looked very obscene. The classmates laughed when they saw this, but no one helped me. I frowned and felt that this reunion was too different from what I had imagined. If I wasn't waiting for someone, I would have stormed off. Just as I was about to call security, Sam Foster, who was standing to the side, suddenly put out the cigarette in his hand and grabbed the arm of the man who was harassing me. His eyes were extremely cold and seemed very angry. Behave yourself. The man's hand was in so much pain that he screamed. Ashley Green grabbed Sam Foster's sleeve. Sam, what are you doing? His face was still cold. Doing what's right. This is a high school reunion, not a place for you to go crazy. After saying that, he shook off the man. The man didn't dare to yell at him but glared at me fiercely. I couldn't help but look at Sam Foster. I didn't expect him to help me. Ashley Green was about to grind her back teeth, but she smiled and said, I heard that the young master and president of Tsinghua Enterprises are in the conference hall upstairs. Maybe we'll be lucky and see Newport's richest man. Hearing this, the classmates immediately became excited. Newport's richest man was handsome and rich. It was said that he was only in his 30s this year and already had a 5-year-old child. However, the richest man's wife had never been revealed. Then do we have a chance to see his wife today? I have to post it on TikTok. This is first-hand information. Soon, a group of bodyguards escorted a young master to the banquet hall, and the crowd immediately became excited. This lineup must be the young master of Newport's richest man. He's really talented. The male classmate who had harassed me had been beaten but had no complaints and only dared to act crazy in front of me. Sherry Joe, if it weren't for Ashley, someone like you who works like a dog outside would never see the young prince of Newport's richest man. If I were you, I would kneel down and apologize to her now and thank her properly. Maybe you can not only get a good job but also marry someone like me who earns $6,000 a month. Crazy. I ignored him and calmly looked in the direction of the young prince. Everyone greeted him with flattering expressions, desperately taking pictures and videos of the young master. Even the aloof Ashley Green walked towards the young master with a kind, even flattering, expression. Little friend, is there anything you want to eat? Auntie will pay for it. As she spoke, she wanted to pinch the young master's cheek. What everyone didn't expect was that the little boy, surrounded by bodyguards, ignored the adults around him and walked straight towards me. He smiled sweetly and threw himself into my arms. Mommy, you're finally here. The originally cold little master showed a aggrieved expression when he saw me. Why didn't you come back yesterday? Baby missed you so much. I hugged my son and comforted him in a low voice. Mommy was working. Mommy told you when Mommy went to work yesterday. Mommy will take you out to play tomorrow when Mommy has a day off, okay? My darling son, Rain Goo, nodded. Hey, Mom is the best. The classmates at the scene were shocked and looked at me with disbelief. Just as the classmates were about to speak, a handsome man in a suit hurried down from the conference room upstairs. Honey, I heard from the hotel manager that you're here at a high school reunion. Why didn't you tell me when you got off work? I could have driven to pick you up. The hotel manager stood aside and introduced to everyone who was dumbfounded. This is Gary Gu, the president of our Tsinghua Group, and also the husband of Sherry Zhou. If you have any requests during the meal, please feel free to ask me. We will do our best to satisfy the various experiences of Mrs. Zhou's old classmates. To show our hospitality. At this time, the classmates' expressions were different. Some became extremely excited, while those who had bullied me were now extremely pale. Several girls who were close to me couldn't help but say, "Sherry, your husband is actually Gary Gu, the richest man in Newport? Is there even a question? The hotel manager is calling Sherry Mrs., and the young master is calling her mommy. She must be the richest man's wife who hasn't been publicly revealed. Wow, this is the real nobility." Faced with the discussions of the surrounding classmates, I had to respond with a smile. Gary Gu, who was standing aside, looked me up and down and hugged me with some heartache. "You just came back from the hospital again? Go home and rest after the reunion." I nodded and said, "Okay." Then, this seemingly cold man ignored Ashley Green, who wanted to strike up a conversation, and looked straight at Sam Foster with some disdain. "You're my wife's ex, right? Thank you for not marrying her back then. If it weren't for your fulfillment, how would I have met such a good wife?" Facing Gary Gu's sarcasm, Sam Foster ignored him. Instead, he looked at me with a complicated expression, his eyes filled with a hint of collapse. He questioned, "Sherry Joe, is this your way of punishing me? How much money did you spend to find these two actors?" I put down my son and took Gary Gu's hand directly. "This is my husband, Gary Gu." His expression ranged from disbelief at first to shock, to paleness, to a dead silence. Perhaps I would have felt sorry for this man's every move in the past. But he was right, the past is the past, why mourn the past? I had a new lover, a child, the job I dreamed of, and a happy marriage and family that I couldn't have in my previous life. No matter how you look at it, I'm happier in this life. Ashley Green was originally the one who held this reunion, but after learning of my identity, everyone looked at me differently, from flattering Ashley Green to caring about me. It only took a few minutes. I didn't expect Sherry Joe to be married to the richest man. Sam Foster even wanted to give her a check to get rid of her. Now it seems too ridiculous. Yeah, he thought his ex was doing badly, but she turned around and found a better man. Wasn't Ashley Green going to recommend her to be a nail technician? I just heard that Sherry Joe is a chief surgeon at Newport's First Hospital. She seems to be very good. She doesn't need anyone to introduce her to a job. Isn't this hilarious? Sherry Joe, why didn't you tell your old classmates about such a big thing as your marriage? We could have given you a big Christmas gift. I looked at the old classmates who had ignored me and started to become familiar with me, and only felt ridiculous. But I still politely maintained the superficial decency. I was already losing interest before the high school reunion ended. Soon, my husband Gary Gu and I took our son and turned to leave. Just as we walked out of the luxury hotel, "Sherry Joe." Sam Foster chased after me and shouted. I told Gary Gu to take our son to the car first and wait for me. After all, the weather in November was a bit cold at night. Gary Gu didn't say anything and nodded silently. He respected me and trusted me as always. Sam Foster looked at me with a complicated and incomprehensible expression. How could you marry Gary Gu? There was nothing to hide about this. Gary Gu's mother was hospitalized in our hospital for heart disease, and I happened to be his mother's attending physician. Because of the illness, we often communicated, and that's how we met. He admired my dedication to every patient and my pursuit of professionalism and academics. So, Gary Gu pursued me with great energy and efficiency. I saw his filial piety towards his mother, and I had a good impression of this man. On the day Gary Gu formally confessed to me, I asked him a few questions. "Do you want children?" "I want child. Ren. Although I can say some nice things now, like respecting your own wishes, I want to answer you sincerely, I want children. My dream is a happy family of 3. I continued to ask with a blank expression, "Will you stop me from continuing my medical research?" He shook his head very sincerely. "No, everyone's true energy is not necessarily all in the family, but also in society and in themselves, and I am willing to support everything you want to do. One last question. Will you regret it?" He laughed. I, Gary Gu, never regret anything. From that day on, I agreed to try with him, wanting to give him and myself a chance to start over. Later, we naturally fell in love and got married. The wedding was very low-key. We simply got a marriage certificate and invited familiar relatives and friends. After listening to my story, Sam Foster's eyes turned red without realizing it. Is that little boy really your child? But didn't you say before that you only wanted to have children with me? How can you have children with another man now? I was speechless by this sentence and could only use his words to remind him. Sam Foster, the past is the past. Can you not mourn the past? There's no need to take the vows of the previous life seriously in this life. When we wanted to break up, it was best for us from the previous life and this life to have no contact, wasn't it? Besides, you regretted me in the previous life and didn't want to have children with me at all, and I can't accept that kind of life. Sam Foster shouted angrily. I heard it because you hurted me. You sent emails to those music publishers asking them to record my songs. After hearing this, my face was filled with confusion. What are you talking about? I don't understand at all. I never sent any emails. At that time, I was working 3 jobs a day for your musical dreams. I didn't have time to do such a boring thing, and I wanted you to succeed more than anyone else. Essie, didn't you feel that in our past life? As soon as these words came out, Sam Foster was shocked in place as if struck by lightning. He covered his mouth involuntarily, as if he couldn't accept this fact, and continued to question me. Then why didn't you want to buy a guitar when I asked you to? I understood now what Sam Foster meant by what he didn't say at the high school reunion. Did you think we had any money at home? Your father was sick back then, and the family took out almost all of their savings to send him to the hospital. Besides money for groceries, what else did we have back then? Should we have robbed a guitar? Sam Foster was completely desperate. He muttered to himself, impossible, Ashley told me that it was you who sent the emails to those companies, so I never succeeded. It's because you didn't want to see me succeed, you were afraid that I would abandon you after I succeeded. If the things in our previous life made me feel disappointed and painful, I was completely disappointed in my feelings in this life. We've been together for so many years, and other people's casual words can negate all my efforts. Don't you think you're ridiculous? I sighed. My husband and son are still waiting for me. I'll go first. Sam Foster asked anxiously behind me, Sherry Joe, do you still love me? I shook my head definitely. I let go of the love from our previous life a long time ago. I love my husband and my son more now. I didn't understand why he would ask such a question. After all, he had been saying that there was no need to dwell on the past people and things. And I had really let go completely. Unexpectedly, only a month later, Ashley Green's father, Ken Zhang, was exposed for tax evasion, using cheap materials to build commercial housing, forging data, and bribing local officials. He made the news headlines for various crimes. When I learned of this, I was quite shocked. Ashley Green, the once aloof rich girl, looked so down and out in front of the camera. Not only were all of her assets seized by the court, but she couldn't even go home. And her father, because of various crimes, would probably never get out of prison in his life. Besides them, the real victims were those ordinary people who had bought houses with their life savings, only to get tofu drag projects. When I heard the news, I couldn't help but sigh. It's really too much. They have no conscience in doing business. Gary Gu said aggrievedly from the side, honey, don't misunderstand. I have a conscience. I smiled. Gary Gu had always insisted on making the most cost-effective products. All of his products, hotels, and real estate were built with the best materials and sold at the lowest prices. That's why he made his company bigger and bigger, and his reputation grew and grew. If you respect consumers, consumers will naturally reward you. And those like Ashley Green's father who use the money from cutting costs on materials to make money, disregarding the lives of ordinary people, are simply outrageous. Not long after, I received an unlisted phone number. After hesitating for a while, I still pressed the answer button. Sam Foster's voice came from the other end of the phone. Did you see the news? Sherry, I reported it. I frowned, not understanding why he was telling me this. Then thank you for the people. Sam Foster's tone sounded very weak on the other end of the phone. Sherry, I want to see you, can I? I replied seriously. I said before that I've already let go, you don't need to come again. Before I could finish speaking, I was interrupted by his coughing. Cough, cough. Sam Foster chuckled and continued, I went to the hospital a few days ago for a checkup. I have terminal lung cancer, Sherry. Can you meet me? Hearing this news, something seemed to snap in my brain. I was silent for a long time before speaking in a hoarse voice, bring your medical report and come to my hospital to find me. In the afternoon, Sam Foster walked into my office, looking much thinner. He put his medical report on my desk. I quickly looked through his report, my brows furrowed. You'd better go through the admission procedures as soon as possible and cooperate with the doctor for treatment. I didn't have any cases on hand at the moment. I went with him to complete the admission procedures. After everything was settled, Sam Foster's eyes were red, and he looked at me with a pleading expression. Sherry, I knew you wouldn't ignore me. You must still have me in your heart, right? I know I misunderstood you before. It was all my fault. You were so good to me in our past life, but I still treated you like that. I understand now that I don't regret being with you in our past life at all. Sherry Joe, I know I was wrong. Can you forgive me? Let's get back together, okay? We can have our own children. Haven't you always wanted a child of our own? I frowned and looked at him. Sam Foster, I hope you understand that we broke up completely the moment we were reborn. Now I have a new family, my own children. I hope you don't say these things anymore. Sam Foster shook his head in disbelief. You definitely have me in your heart, otherwise why would you be so busy helping me? How could our feelings of so many years just disappear? You're just angry with me. Can you stop being angry? I've already admitted my mistake. I smiled coldly and shook off his hand. Because we had many years of feelings, that's why I came to help take care of you when you were diagnosed with lung cancer. If my actions have made you misunderstand, I'm really sorry. You can contact your parents to come and take care of you. Sam Foster shook his head in disbelief. You must have me in your heart, otherwise why would you be so busy helping me? How could our feelings of so many years just disappear? You're just angry with me. Can you stop being angry? I've already made a mistake. I showed a cold smile and shook off his hand. Because we once had many years of feelings, that's why I came to help take care of you when you were diagnosed with lung cancer. If my actions have made you misunderstand, I'm really sorry. You can contact your parents to come and take care of you. Also, marrying you in my past life is the thing I regret most. I don't love you anymore, and I certainly don't want to have children with you. I hope you can move on from the past, a past I don't want to return to. After saying this, Sam Foster froze, his face etched with pain. I didn't even notice, and turned and left the hospital room. Sam Foster shouted after me, all men are the same. Do you really think Gary Gu truly loves you? Why would the richest man in Newport be interested in an ordinary person like you? Wake up! You can't be happy together. I'm the one who's right for you. Hearing these annoying words, I walked faster. He hadn't changed at all from the past life. When he was doing well, he looked down on those who weren't. When he wasn't doing well, he envied those who were, and even wanted to drag them into the abyss. This kind of person is always regretting and never satisfied. Everyone thinks I'm marrying Gary Gu above my station. But I feel that we are equals in this relationship. Sam Foster thinks I'm just an ordinary doctor, but he doesn't know about my groundbreaking research and achievements in medicine. Gary Gu, on the other hand, is willing to learn more about me. He once held me gently in his arms and whispered in my ear, "Honey, your reports save lives. That's something no amount of money can buy. You're the real superhero." Because of Gary Gu, I understand what true love is. Love isn't about one person taking and the other giving, but about two people striving together towards their dreams, side by side, supporting each other. At this moment, I won't doubt our relationship because of a few words of instigation from Sam Foster. Sam Foster still seemed unwilling to give up. One day, he appeared in my office with a guitar. He played and sang the song "Look Into My Eyes, They Don't Lie," which he had used to confess his love to me. The familiar melody played, but I wasn't touched at all. Instead, I only felt a deep sense of annoyance. This song was truly ironic. Almost every day after we got married, he lied to me. I sternly told him to leave. He came over and grabbed my hand. Sherry, I really regret it. I really regret it. I don't want to break up with you. It's all my fault. I didn't cherish you enough. Please forgive me. I looked at him coldly. Wasn't I clear enough last time? Being with you is the thing I regret most. Do you know what I'm most grateful for? A glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes, but it was immediately extinguished by my next words. That we didn't have children together. That's the only thing God has blessed me with. Please stop bothering me, okay? Sam Foster's parents arrived in time and took him back to the hospital room. The two elderly people apologized to me with regret. I'm sorry, my son is sick right now and has done a lot of things that have affected you. But Sherry Joe, tell Auntie, is there really no chance at all between you two? Looking at the parents who had been so good to me in my past life, I said seriously, Auntie, Uncle, I'm already married. I have a husband and a child. And even if I wasn't married, I couldn't be with Sam Foster, because I really don't love him anymore. I hope he can actively receive treatment and stop bothering me. The two elderly people nodded apologetically. Soon, Sam Foster was transferred to another hospital and never contacted me again. The next time I heard from Sam Foster, it was a phone call from his mother. Sherry, Sam Foster is dying. He wants to see you one last time. Can you come see him? I was silent for a long time. Finally, I replied in a hoarse voice, okay. After saying that, I hung up the phone. At that moment, I suddenly wanted to recall the moments he and I were in love in my past life. But unfortunately, I couldn't remember anything. So time can really take everything away. The next time I saw Sam Foster, he was so thin that he was unrecognizable, his cheekbones protruding. He looked blankly out the window. Only when I walked into the room did his eyes suddenly light up. He looked at his body and smiled self-deprecatingly. Sherry, I must look terrible now, right? I didn't answer. He continued, I'm sorry. I used to be so insecure. I worked hard to pursue my musical dreams, but all I got was failure. I couldn't face these results, so I blamed you for everything. Maybe this is my karma. Sherry, if we could do it all over again, if I treated you well this time, would you still choose me? Looking at his bright eyes and hopeful gaze, I directly shattered his fantasy. No, life doesn't have so many chances to start over. And, Sam Foster, you won't change. You'll never be satisfied. A person who is never satisfied will never get the happiness they want, no matter how many times life restarts. Sam Foster looked at me, tears of regret streaming down his face. Is there really no chance? I really know I was wrong. I gave him a definite negative answer, there's no chance. After leaving, I never went back to see him again. After all, I cherish everything I have now more. There was an opportunity for overseas study and exchange in my research field. The dean directly recommended me. When I arrived in the United States, I found Gary Gu waiting for me at the airport with our child. He walked slowly towards me with flowers in his hands, and I was filled with surprise. Gary Gu hugged me tightly. How is it? Are you surprised? Your wife is going abroad to study, so your husband and baby are here to accompany you. Are you happy? I nodded. I'm so happy, so surprised. During the study and exchange period, we also visited many attractions in the United States, creating many wonderful memories. During the I learned about Sam Foster's death. I felt a little lost. But the next moment, I saw two figures, one big and one small, running towards me. I immediately opened my arms and embraced my future.